So there's a really interesting thing at the moment being talked about, the indie apocalypse. So at the moment there's lots of great indie games out there. The question is, can we sustain a world where there's more games than I could possibly play in my lifetime? Now, I think we're going to keep arguing and debating that, but we always have. There will be ups and downs in terms of the market, but the bottom line is we're still in the best place ever to make games. We have the widest audience that we could possibly have, the most global audience. We're going to have to learn how to adapt, to be found, to be engaging, to keep players playing our games. And that isn't something we should be worried about, it's something we should crave, because I think it's a Darwinian process. You have to make better games to be found. You have to make better games to make revenues. You have to make better games to keep players playing your game. So I think we're in this amazing future, but it will be turbulent. It's absolutely going to be turbulent, but what a fantastic time to be making games. And I'm so glad to be working with Unity, because Unity's message has always been democratizing game development. That you can make games in ways you could never have thought possible now because of companies like Unity. And I think our switch to start looking at it from the point of view of helping game developers be successful, so not just democratizing, but helping them be successful, is absolutely cool. That's why it's fantastic to be working at Unity in this time, where we're able to help so many game developers realize their passions and their dreams.
Oh, if only I could give you an absolute answer. But what we can know from games that have done that is that there is a really fundamental principle, which is respect your players. That's a fundamental starting point. Now, obviously, what we've learned from games like Angry Birds Transformers, or games like Crossy Road, of course, Crossy Road being an amazing example, these kind of games have already thought about the flow of the player journey. So when you start playing a game, you've got to find it first, and then you've got to want to open it up and play it. And you'll be amazed at the tiny percentage of games that people open that they've even downloaded. So we've got a big task to get people even starting playing the game. Once they do, the first experience has got to be amazing and really delight them. And we've got to start to get them to the process of being engaged. We have to show them from the very first time they start playing a game that there's going to be value in playing it. That's really fundamental. But there's also this beautiful thing we've learned from doing this idea of opt-in video ads. So when you play a game, would you choose to watch an ad? Well, if you do the design right, what happens is you say, let's take Crossy Road. I love Crossy Road. I play the game, I get to the end of the game, and at that point, I've died, I can then watch a video to get some extra coins. What are the coins for? Well, the coins, if I get enough coins, I can get a gacha, so a random character. So I buy this random character, I don't know what it's going to be. I got a thing called the Celebrity. So it's a pretty kind of 8-bit style girl who walks across Crossy Road is like Frogger, so you're walking across roads and on logs to cross rivers and things like that. But as I wander across the road, I'm getting photographs taken by paparazzi, so that's funny. But when I die, when I smash into a car, there's this puff of money that goes out, and it's delightful. So having this new character doesn't change the game at all, but it makes the game more exciting because it's visually changed the experience. And that's brilliant. So what they've done is they've made it so you want to watch the ads. You're delighted by the experience. You've gained from doing it. So you choose to watch the ads. From doing that, we managed to work with the Crossy Roads guys, and in 100 days of them launching, we'd already paid out $3 million of ad revenue just on their iOS, on their Apple devices. So that's really the crux of it. It's working out the right process that makes players feel special, putting in the expectation of value. And that's not made up. That's not something that's random, because there has been real research done. Park and Lee in South Korea the two psychologists did some research on why people spent money on in-app purchase. It wasn't because people like the game, although you have to like the game to start with. It wasn't because they like developers, although obviously we hope that people will actually get, will give revenue, because we want more games to be made. Of course we want people to give money to developers. What it was really about was an expectation of future value. So that means you've got to think about your game, why people will keep playing it and playing it and playing it and playing it, and give them something to look forward to. that's when they're going to be willing to spend money. That's when they're going to be willing to watch adverts and make that delightful. That's it. So I'm a bit naughty about that because I did there was a conference in Kiev called Casual Connect a few years ago, and I did a presentation, how to survive the zombie apocalypse. My idea being that anyone making a premium game, a pay up front game, were the living dead. They were dead, they just didn't know it yet. Now I've become a little bit more forgiving of pay up front games, and that's because there are really two types of game experience. There are these beautiful, joyful nuggets of experience like The Room that Barry Mead, who's also here, talked about, and that game is just a delight. But it's a one-time playthrough experience. You can't revisit it. Well, I think there could be ways you could, but in that game you can't revisit it because once you've worked out how to open the puzzle box, you know how to open the puzzle box. What more is there? Now, obviously, you can't pay using ads or in-app purchase in a game like that because that doesn't work. It doesn't make sense. It breaks the gameplay. And remember what I said earlier. The gameplay is what matters most. If we don't get the gameplay right, we can't monetize right. So we're in this situation where basically premium is changing, absolutely changing, and it will forever be changed. But freemium's not perfect either. So I'm a massive freemium fan. How many freemium games leave you feeling great when you spent the money? Quite a lot of them are starting to niggle at your player, starting to make the player feel a little bit more and more uncomfortable. So there's a challenge we have to face. The creative challenge of game design has to affect freemium as much as it has to affect premium games. So the fate is that we're going to have to deal with that. We're going to start putting players first, disrupt, putting the delight back into the game. So the problem we have at the moment is there's just too many games using the same business model in a way that makes you feel more and more uncomfortable. But then the bright new hope, I think, is the games like the Crossy Roads, the Best Fiends, there's a whole bunch of Dead Trigger 2. There's really fantastic games out there that show we can actually make better gaming experiences. But it takes imagination, it takes game design combined with good business acumen, and fundamentally make a game that people want to play.